Okay, let's see how this one goes. This will be an interesting one. Come on. Konica Minolta. Okay, we're going to leave that. We're not going to leave it on that. We're going to choose a size. Trying to decide whether it'll be 200. Make it 141.4. Let's see what we got. So we're going to make it a negative positive for a change. And the colour adjust. Just leaving the black in the middle. Add some contrast. Sorry guys, my leg's itchy. Scratch. Sorry about the distraction. What else? I'm going to lighten it off. Actually, it's negative positive, so it's got to be a bit darker. Actually, we're going to make it darker than that. Okay, I'm wondering if we're just going to say okay to this and see what we can do. This will be a funny one. This one here hasn't been unpacked. It's a, whoops, upside down. It's a ruler, 30 centimetre ruler, and I've still got it in the package. It came as a gift from the company that I bought this photocopier off, Mytronics. So I'm just going to use it for this, and yeah, I'll find a use for this later. But we're just going to make it interesting. We're just going to create a movement piece with a ruler. So let's see how this goes. Let's see how this looks. If we've made it come up a treat. So it's been enlarged. I think actually that looks really nice. That looks really good actually. So wondering if we're going to do some more, but the negative mode looks good. It's like, look at that, we just bent it over. We made a mirror image of the third. That's a good one. Oh, that's a really good one. I'm really happy with that result. So we're just going to do a couple more and see if we can just change things around. See if we can make variations on the same thing. But it's interesting how motion can really transform an image, and how strange the effects you get with motion. Even though motion is extremely difficult thing to control. So here's another one. Here's an interesting example. That one's still, and then all of a sudden it's been mirror imaged again. So I think we'll do one more and see what we can kind of like come up with. Okay, let's see how we go. So this is a technique that photocopier artists throughout the ages have been employing in their work. It's an age-old technique that is as relevant today as it was back in the early days when photocopier art was really popular, like in the 60s, or a little bit in the 60s when the first modern photocopiers arrived on the scene. The first model being the Xerox 914. And then I think in the 70s it had a peak, and then in the 80s it was continuing. In the 90s it had another peak. It fell away probably in the 2000s and is virtually extinct in the 2010s. So there are people who still hold the torch for photocopier art, including myself, but there are others. So I'm hoping there'll be a revival of this wonderful art form. It's so grossly underrated. It gets blown away by Photoshop and InDesign and all that sort of stuff. But we don't scoff at the computer art. Computer art is very good. It's a lot of fun. But if you want something that's a little more hands-on and less, seemingly less dehumanizing, if you're not computer type people, this is it. The only problem with today's photocopiers is that sometimes the features like auto paper can throw you out. Like if I had not selected this tray manually, this machine would have spat the dummy. So for the best results, you select a tray like this, a manual selection of a tray. And with this type of machine, you should be able to get away without using the what they call the original size. But if you want to use say for example, you want to use the whole area of the glass, the A3 area, if you're in Australia or if you're in England, I think England still uses the A series, or if you're American, they've got other sizes. If you want to use a size that's bigger and you want for reduction, for example, you have to select paper. You have to select an original size. So if you want to reduce something big from A3, for example, as I showed there, down to A4 landscape, you simply select A3 and then it'll use the whole area. If you fail to select an original size, if I'm correct, the machine will only typically read the A4 if you've selected the paper, and it'll ignore the area outside, and that's a problem. So that's just a little tip. I hope I've demonstrated that correctly without actually demonstrating it. So hopefully that'll give you a bit of a guideline. Anyway, gotta go.